Welcome, everybody, to the game changers and how thermal has elevated what I do in my field. So my name is James. I go by the online name of Wildlife with Cookie, and I am a content creator. So I make videos for YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. And I have been doing this full time now since October 2023. This is my job. It's good fun. So the premise of what I do mainly is I run around documenting animals that should not be here in the UK. And I've termed them as animal anomalies. So my content is set out to inspire adventure and to showcase the joys of finding wildlife. So a lot of the times I get quite excited when I find something, and some of those things are here on the screen. So this right here is a scorpion. It's a yellow-tailed scorpion. We have them in a couple of places in the UK, mostly down in Sheerness on the Isle of Sheppey. So that's a pretty interesting find. This one here is a laughing kookaburra. A few little numbers of those dotted about. So these are mostly in Kirkcudbright in Scotland. And then over here we have stick insects, 3 species of those down on the south coast. So that one right there is actually a tiny little prickly stick insect. They've come over on boats from New Zealand. And then we have these over here, which are red-necked wallabies. There's a few feral populations of them dotted about the United Kingdom. That one in particular is from the Midlands, which was quite a nice one for me to see in the summer. So that's the general purpose of, or general sort of thing that I do. I run around, I try and highlight these things that live here wild and free in the UK, and showcase it to a good-sized audience of people who wouldn't know about these things living right here in the UK, but maybe don't understand or don't know. And it causes conversation and gets people into wildlife, and I absolutely love that. So probably thinking, if I'm finding all of that sort of stuff, why then thermal? Like if I can find wallabies and stick insects and all that sort of stuff with relative ease, why do I need thermal? Well, I'm gonna show you why. So recently I went to South Africa, and this is the reason for the lions here. And I wanted to show off this one in particular, just because I'm never gonna take a better photo in my life. But in South Africa, I've been leading some tours, and seeing some incredible things. Incredible people came on these tours. But one of the main things, and thanks to Thomas Jacks for this, is they kitted us up with some thermal technology. Now this came in handy on the night drives. So inside Kruger National Park, we had 2 hours-ish in the evening to sort of get on this big bus of 20-ish people, and you head out on a night drive. So you light up the roads, and usually you do that with torches. So get these big beam torches, you shine them off left, right, and center, trying to find eye shine. So all we're looking for is this. You're going to blind an animal. You're going to stick torches in its grid, and you want these eyes to look back at you to hopefully see something. So this right here is an African civet. It's part of the Secret 7 of South Africa. So it's quite a rare thing to see, a lovely thing to see. It's like the African raccoon. It's a lovely thing. But generally, you're looking for the eye shine with a torch. However, we were kitted up with thermal technology, and this became so much easier. So what happens if you're using these torches and you can't see any eyes looking back at you? So I'm going to give you a couple of seconds. In this photo, there is an animal. It's your job to find it. There is no eyes to help you. I'll give you a couple of seconds. Can anybody see it? If you do see it, stick your hand up. It's tough, right? So, bit of context for this. 20 people on the bus, 19 have torches, 1, me, has thermals, and there's only 1 person that saw it. Can you guess who that was? That was me. So we skip it on. Here is the animal right here, this big white blob. Now, if I take you back a little bit, there's a rock here, which you can't see very well. That rock right there. Skip it forward, that is the rock. So the rock has been baking in the sun all day, it's a little bit hot. But this animal right here is lying just behind this grass. There's no eye shine, but it's looking directly at us. Can anybody tell what this is? Not quite. It's big. It's a big animal. So this right here is a horned. And the way I can describe them is like, imagine like a young girl's haircut that goes out like this with piggy tails. Buffalo. Perfect. So this right here was a buffalo. It's a massive animal. And for us to not see it with a torch was just lying right there. Nobody believed me that it was there until I could put the thermal in their hands and show them this. There's a buffalo, one of the big 5, lying right there in this riverbed, and nobody can see it. Amazing. So here's generally what I see when we're on these night drives, right? So obviously this bus is moving, torches flying about everywhere. I'm glued in to my thermal like this. This is what I generally see on the drive and how you're supposed to sort of try and pick up wildlife. So this little bit of video here. We're moving, I'm zooming in. Shout out what you think this animal is, if you can tell. So this is South Africa, by the way. Not quite. Not quite. Big, big kitty, maybe, yeah? So that was in a riverbed once again with the torches, we can't see it. So it's through the thermal, and that's what we can get. That's what I can see, right? So there's a big lump on the floor and something sticking out the back of it. We had shout for a few cats there, leopard, cheetah, but lion is the correct answer. It was a big kitty. Now, we saw it through the thermal. I was able to pass it over to people and show them, no, there is a lion there. You just can't see it with the torch. Again, no eye shine. It was too far. I can see it with this. It then got up and came to say hello. But if we hadn't stopped, we probably would have just driven straight past this, and this wouldn't have been curious enough to come and say hello. So we would have missed it. But a beautiful female lion came to say hello because we saw it on the thermal, and everyone was having a great time passing the binoculars across to show it. Now, sometimes it's not so easy using thermal because it doesn't solve all of your problems. Now, there is another animal in this photo right here. Now, I'm not going to give you too long to have a look because you can't see it. There is a chameleon in here, but the light is blinding it. You can't see it. But also, you can't see it on the thermal. Chameleons, camouflage, is top tier. This right down here was a bird. That is not a chameleon. But in here, there is a chameleon. It's cold-blooded. You cannot see it. So sometimes with animals like that, you just can't win. What about this one? Now, this one's quite interesting. Again, it's cold-blooded. But notice what it's on. It's a road, right? Now, bear in mind, this is in South Africa. This road has been cooking all day long. What do you think is going to be hotter? The road. So you got this big black slug-looking thing in this road, and the road, you can see, is producing some heat, whereas this snake, who's been hiding all day long, hasn't got any heat to it, which is really interesting, actually, because it works in reverse for the thermal, right? So I can see this black thing. If I put my fingers in front, they'd be white, right? It'd be white hot, which is what the road kind of is. But this snake, which is obviously cold, is black cold. But interestingly, in reverse, that's how it's working. So normally you'd look for the other way. But that was quite interesting. So that was Africa's deadliest snake, by the way, the puff adder. So here's more of what I saw. This is a small cat. This is an African wildcat, another one part of the Secret 7 of South Africa. A very beautiful looking thing. But again, just something you're not going to see with torches. Or you might see it, but it's very difficult. This one right here was way off in the distance. So we were looking at hippo, very easy to see, a big animal in a riverbed. I noticed this thing running around in the distance. There was a honey badger. How cool is that, right? Honey badgers are quite rare, elusive, difficult things to see. We managed to see this honey badger. This one, if you can see it, is a terrible image. Now, this is a still image of a video, and the video is even worse. But that's as much as I managed to get out of this. Now, this is one of the best sightings that you can have in South Africa. That right there was a caracal. But once again, we couldn't see it with the naked eye. It ran across the road, and that was the best we could get. But it was better than the run across the road that we got. But it goes to show you can still pick things up. Even when you think that run across the road is finished and you've had your sighting, thermals will put you onto it. And then this right here, can anybody tell me what this is actually? Because when I first saw it, I got the ID wrong. In real time, I got it wrong. Can anybody tell me what that is? Leopard. It's a leopard. Yeah, you're absolutely spot on. There was actually another one just off to the side, but this was a leopard. In real time, as that bus is moving, and I can see this blob, I thought it was a cheetah, and I got really excited. Not like a leopard's rubbish or anything, but like, that was really cool, just lying there looking beautiful. I did in real time think it was a cheetah, but again, you can see it shines up bright in front of everything else. It's a very easy object to see. One of the main things with thermal as well, not only just the spotting of animals like this that you wouldn't normally get to see, you cause less disturbance. And that's obviously a massive thing here in the UK. We're very protective of our wildlife. And there are certain things in particular which you're not supposed to really get towards. So I'm going to play you a little video clip here of a recent trip to Scotland in where I went searching for beavers. So wild beavers, they're a European protected species. You're not supposed to disturb them. You can break the law if you disturb them in a place of their shelter. So here's a 2-minute clip of me searching for and finding beavers.
And we're back again trying to locate some beavers. We went later this time, after dark, thermal in hand to survey this loch. Starting from the beaver's lodge, I worked from right to left. There were some ducks out in the middle, but as I kept going further, I noticed some heat in the distance at the water's edge. I zoomed in 10 times trying to work out what it was. We've got beavers. Come on.
Let's bloody go.
We've got beavers. But they're on the other side of the loch. So I think what we're going to try and do is work our way around there very quietly, very slowly, and keep them in the thermal. But there is definitely 2 beavers. Come on, right, let's go. Let's go have a look, shall we? Right, guys, if you listen very carefully, you can hear a beaver eating. Just off that way. We're about 20 or 30 metres away. And a Eurasian beaver, a wild Eurasian beaver, is having his dinner. Ah man, I can't tell you how nice this was. I haven't seen a wild beaver for a few years, so to be back in their presence was special. In total, there were 4 beavers here, feeding, swimming and socialising, and they were completely unbothered by our presence, so we spent a good half an hour or so watching them through the thermal. And again, I just want to give a shout out to Thomas Jacks for loaning us the Pulsar Merger LRF XL50. Without these guys, honestly, I'm not sure if we'd have been able to see these beavers at all, let alone as good as what we did here. I just think thermal's such a game changer for things like this, because we could have turned up here, beamed them with a flashlight, and they could have been spooked off. But actually, through the thermal, it's just happy days.
So this was using a really nice high-end binocular thermal from Pulsar. And you can see a lot of stuff in the frame here. So we got a beaver there, and a beaver having a scratch there. There was another one swimming as well. I'm about 20 to 30 meters away here. I'm quite close to the point where I can hear them eating. Chewing away, having a great time. With a flashlight, 20, 30 meters away, if I stick that in their face, they're probably going to get straight in the water and go. And like, we don't want to do that, especially here in this country, you'll get told off very much. But we don't want to do that, right? Like, you don't want to disturb things just going about their daily lives. And beavers are special things to see, right? It's a great thing. So if you can cause less disturbance, thermal is the way to go. I got to stand there for half an hour just watching this happen. And I could hear it, I could see it through the thermal. It was absolutely amazing. Right, so here's my beaver family looking absolutely adorable. Now, bear in mind, again, this is a still image from a video. And here's some other things I've seen as well. So down in the Forest of Dean, this is a wild boar. Now, the Forest of Dean in the daytime, if you've been there, you might not see a whole bunch. You might get a bit unlucky and there's not a lot of mammal action going on. At night time, it's a completely different thing. Wild boar, absolutely everywhere. Fallow deer, everywhere. Foxes, everywhere. It's absolutely mental. And here's one of the fallow deers as well. But this is more to show you how close you can get to the wildlife, 20 meters away from this wild boar, without disturbing it. So I sat in my car watching this fella just go about his daily business. Same with this fallow deer, 29 meters away, having a lie down, didn't go up, was unbothered, but I was 29 meters away from it. But also, one of the big things with this is education. So again, I've just been in South Africa, leading some tours and teaching people about giraffes, zebras, elephants, to name a few things. Now, these guys have some interesting thermoregulation sort of mechanisms. So 2 of them especially. Now, giraffes, one of their thermoregulation methods here is through the patterns. So the darker patches, they have more blood vessels there, they expand, they dilate, and that's where more heat can dissipate from the body. It's a similar process with the elephants with their big, gigantic ears. 12 liters of blood can get pumped through those ears every hour. They have these giant veins that extend out all the way to the edge, and that's where the heat dissipates from. It's thought that zebras might have the same thing with the black. So the black stripes here, it might give them a bit more of a thermoregulation thing, but the heat dissipation might happen from there. We'll see about it in a second. Now, it's great for me to tell you this and to say that's what happens, but you can't see it. However, with thermal, you can see it. So this is a giraffe using its heat dissipation from its patches, right? So this right here, it's not the same giraffe, but this right here, you can see the darker patches. You can see the darker patches. Now, it makes more sense in a minute when we get to the zebra. But you can see right here, these hotter patches, the whiter patches, on the giraffe, they would be its darker patches. That's where the heat is coming from. Now the elephant, check that out. There's veins all the way through the ears. Absolutely mad. So at night time, this is when elephants will try and dissipate their heat from their body. You can see these veins working in action, going all the way to the tips here. That's where the heat goes from. It's an incredible thing to see. And like in the moment when you're telling people about these things, that's what their ears are for. That's what the patches are for. Like you can say it and it's like, okay, cool, whatever. But when you can actually put thermal in their eyes and say, look, you can see it, it's a really cool thing to do. So an educational point of view, it's really interesting. However, zebras doesn't quite work the same. They're just a horse when it comes to thermal. Those patches, they don't work the same. So there is thoughts that maybe the black is worked in a thermoregulatory way. However, through the thermal, that did not work. It's thought maybe it's minimal as well when it comes to the zebras. But it's really interesting to see all of these things, like with the elephants, with giraffes. From an educational point of view, you can really show off like how these things work. So in conclusion, thermal, nearly nothing can hide from you, as we've seen. Like some of those secret 7 animals of Africa, the civets, the honey badgers, the African wildcats, they cannot hide anymore. Like even from the torches, get your thermals on, they aren't hiding. You can cause less disturbance, and that's one of the main things about these things for me. So with the beavers, like I say, they're European protected species. Being able to get that close to them and just enjoy them without spooking them is a really interesting thing. But also being able to educate people verbally and then back it up visually, I think is a really powerful tool. And that's why thermal for me has really elevated what I do as a content creator. I can now take all of these things and put it into my online world and educate thousands of people on these things. And it's a really interesting thing. So there we go. Thank you everyone for listening to me waffle on for a few minutes. If you have any questions, I will be around. Or if you want to ask one now, I can chat to the group. Anyone got one? No? Perfect. I will be around, so if you want to have a chat, that's absolutely no worries. We have another talk on at 11. I think it's Alice. Is that right, Evan? Alice at 11? Yeah. Alice, she's a zookeeper. You can see how her thermal practices work within zoos. Super interesting. So yeah, guys, cheers. I really appreciate it. Also, Nature Walk is at 2. Cheers. Yeah.